Everyone remembers their first great movie in a theater. The sticky floors, the booming sound, the moment the lights went down and 100 strangers inhaled at once. But in the last 15 years, US theaters have lost billions in ticket sales and hundreds of millions in admissions. Then COVID nearly wiped them out. Now the big question isn't, are theaters dead? It's what survives and why. Today we're doing a business case study on the American movie theater, the numbers, the consumer behavior, the studio's role, why the slate feels like remakes on repeat, and what the next decade actually looks like. Before COVID-19, the trend lines were already pointing down. Domestic box office peaked around the late 2010s, but attendance per person had been sliding for years. Americans were still going, just less often. Two things were happening at once. One, home got better. Big TVs, great sound, streaming libraries. And two, theatrical got pricier, especially for a family when you add tickets, parking, snacks, and premium formats. So even in good years, theaters were relying on fewer trips from the same people, and increasingly, those trips only happened for must-see titles. Then, in 2020, box office collapsed by more than 80%. Theaters closed, chains posted massive losses, one giant filed for Chapter 11. Even after reopening, ticket sales stayed down well below 2019. What's important is what didn't come back: the habit. People returned to restaurants and travel more quickly than they returned to weekly movie nights. A lot of folks shifted from go often to go only when it's a big deal. The business stabilized, but at a lower baseline. Three major behavioral shifts defined the new normal. Number one, streaming as default. During lockdowns, streaming adoption jumped. By the time theaters reopened, many viewers had built a new routine. Watch most movies at home, save theaters for events. Number two, value calculus. Ticket prices rose, premium screens multiplied, concessions got fancier. For a lot of families, that turned a casual night out into a special occasion purchase. That helps revenue per ticket, but not frequency. Number three, audience bifurcation. Young crowds still show up for horror, comedies, and anything that feels like a shared moment. Older crowds come for big prestige and legacy brands. The middle, nice to see titles get pushed to, I'll stream it later. In response, studios rewired release strategy in real time. The old 90-day theatrical window shrank to roughly 45 days for most big films. Day and date experiments mostly died. Theaters got back to an exclusive run, but shorter. Streamers like Amazon and Apple started giving originals a theatrical lap, first to build buzz, then moving them into their services. Most important, studios cut the number of wide releases and poured more money into tentpoles. Fewer big films, bigger budgets, heavier reliance on IP. That works when the tentpoles hit, but it creates a fragile ecosystem. If a key franchise stumbles, theaters have fewer other titles to catch the slack. Let's talk about the slate. The 2010s taught studios that sequels, remakes, and cinematic universes are predictable earners. Then 23-24 exposed the limits. Audience started punishing entries that felt empty or algorithmic. The Flash and the Marvels are cautionary tales. Famous IP, soft word of mouth, brutal drop-offs. Brand alone just wasn't enough. Meanwhile, Top Gun Maverick and the Barbenheimer phenomenon proved two things. One, if you deliver craft plus emotion, even a legacy brand can feel new. And two, an original feeling event. Whether it's a first ever Barbie movie with a distinct voice or a 3-hour prestige epic shot for IMAX, can still pack houses. The takeaway here? In today's theatrical market, novelty and eventization matter as much as IP. People show up for what feels special. Here's the quick financial picture in plain English. Domestic gross rebounded from the 2020 crater, but still lands below 2019. Revenue is improving mostly from higher per ticket spend and premium formats, but not from a full return in attendance. Admissions are down sharply versus the early 2000s and still 30% below 2019 levels. That's the habit problem. Screens and locations have shrunk. Operators closed older sites and weak auditoriums. Leaner footprints help costs, but reduce reach. Debt loads still linger at some chains, but cash flow stabilizes when the slate cooperates, i.e., when the industry has truly must-see films spaced throughout the year. 4 quick case studies to explain the market. Top Gun Maverick earned nostalgia. No streaming shortcut, practical aerial stunts, a story that respects the audience. It drew older demographics back and held for weeks. The lesson? Quality plus theatrical craft equals legs. Let's look at Barbie. Original voice plus brand recognition. It's not a sequel, but a cultural moment. Smart marketing, broad 4-quadrant pull, and a distinctive tone. The lesson here? Audiences reward fresh and fun when it feels like an event. Oppenheimer, a 3-hour R-rated drama that turned IMAX into a destination. A reminder that the format can be the event, and the lesson? Make the screen matter. And let's look at the failures, the Flash / the Marvels. The franchise floor is gone. Familiar IP, weak must-see factor, soft word of mouth, lesson. Franchise autopilot no longer works. If it doesn't feel essential, people wait for streaming, which explains why the slate has felt so repetitive. Studios trimmed output and concentrated on brands to de-risk in an uncertain market, but that creates a negative feedback loop. What you end up getting is fewer wide releases, which leads to fewer reasons to visit theaters in between tentpoles. Fewer visits mean people condition themselves to wait, and that hurts mid-budget films the most, so more of them end up skipping the theaters entirely, which makes theaters even more dependent on blockbusters. Breaking the loop requires either A, a more consistent variety in theaters, or B, elevating non-franchise films so they truly feel like events. The exhibitor's playbook here is clear. Premiumize the experience. More IMAX, Dolby, better projection, better sound, laser upgrades, dine-in recliners. If home is good, the theater must be better. Eventize everything. Early fan shows, filmmaker Q&As, cosplay nights, concert films, anime screenings, horror marathons, retro anniversaries. Right-size the footprint. Fewer but better screens. Close underperformers. Concentrate capacity where demand is real. And partnerships and experiments. Some studios are even buying boutique chains. Streamers are testing theatrical first runs. Expect more creative alliances in the future. From a business lens, the US theater story is a shift from volume to value. Fewer trips per person, but higher spend per visit. Fewer total titles, but more pressure on each to perform. Less reflexive attendance, more earned attendance. From a cultural lens, the magic didn't disappear. It just got rarer, which gives creators and exhibitors a clear brief. Make fewer things, make them great, and make the screen matter. Movie theaters aren't dead. Like the American mall, they're evolving into something leaner, more premium, and more event-driven. The risk is a stale slate that trains people to stay home. The opportunity is a pipeline of films that feel like you had to be there. If you're bullish on the big screen, the path forward is obvious. Respect the audience, respect the format, and give people a reason to get off the couch. This is Slide 72. If you want more deep dives into how culture and business collide, hit subscribe. What's the last movie that genuinely earned your ticket? Tell me below.